up this Tuesday, doing what we do. Going up on the Tuesday, my boo, hey. About to roll up in the ooh-way, in the ooh-wee, ooh-wee. About to stream beats, deep journey, Khzzari, amazing thing. Serenity chilling, yeah, man, sleeping, man, kicking it in the awesome reality. Getting it, we flipping it. Shit is so ridiculous. I'm like the Olympics in this. I don't know. Gymnast or some shit. Look at my microphone, my snowball. You don't really want me, boy. I go hard like hardball. Try to tell me no, like. Yeah. Battle rapping, nobody. No, what? Alright.
Alright, let me hit these switches. And I think we good too. Got that too.
I know you heard her at the end of that one track. Good shot.
Okay, yeah, we'll. Okay.
All right, hold on.
Ready to go in?
Let's get it, man. We gonna do a perspective style.
All right, we're in.
All right. Greetings, kings and queens, gods and goddesses, all of you stars rapping. Pray that all of you have had an amazing day today. And in case nobody has told you today that they love you, let me be the first to say that I love you to life. You will love, cherish, and appreciate it. And I appreciate your existence. So for everybody who's tuning in, thank you. For everybody who has been tuning in, appreciate your presence once again. For everybody new, we're gonna do it a little bit different. Usually we have a guest on here and we tap into their passion, their where they put heart in their art, wherever that may be, whether it's photography, music, etc. Yet today, my man Journey and I, we're gonna take y'all back to a old format we did on a old podcast called Perspectives. And we just gonna, it's gonna be the same vibes, cool, calm, collective for those who have been tuning in. Yeah, we just gonna take it a little different direction, being that we already Journey and I, we already had part one of our greens and things episode. So for those who don't know Journey, this man has been vital to my growth musically and just as a person since I've been out here in California. So for those who don't know, my man Journey. Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Always on standby when somebody doesn't show up.
Oh yeah, just me. I was, but yeah, no person didn't show up, and
It's all good.
nonetheless, we just adjust. You feel me?
Sleep in while the world keeps going.
Facts.
I'm just stabbing at it, man. But we good. We peace.
Oh no, he'll be all right. But yeah, man. So today, well, first of all, can I ask, where's your love tank on the scale from 1 to 10?
My love tank, man, is always on 12, man, because I need that extra 2%. When I expect something, which if you're giving love, expect not to get that love back. So that's why I keep a little extra in the tank.
I feel it. Okay,
12% all day.
I like that, and the reasoning, I like that a lot. All right, well, I'm at a cool 9.5 right now.
See, I can give you 1 and then you over 10.
I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? We overflow our cups so we can pour into the next. I love that.
Yeah.
So with that said, man, I just wanted to let's take it a different direction, man. Let's give the people a sneak peek into how we chop and how we chop it up and how we what they call it, politic.
Yeah, build. I think it's more of a build, because we're adding information on it. Information, you're talking about the things that you research, and I'm talking about the things that I research, and we kind of meet at the middle with perspectives on the different way that we look at things. And I think that's the born cipher of what perspectives was, because we're creatures of our own background, of our own jungle, if you will. I came from the jungles of New York and Chicago and landed here in, Candyland. So,
Right.
I hunt and gather a little bit different than your average Obsidian,
Obsidian. Ooh. That's all like so they give like, just because I'm in that mode, that's all like some alien life force or something. Obsidian.
Hey, man. I feel that way, man. Sometimes I be talking, cats be like,
you just see the bubble with the dot.
Right. It's like you get further and further away. Then
yeah, but no, man, I feel that. So let me get your perspective. I know actually real quick, are you recording?
Oh yeah. We live.
Okay, bet.
Live on deck.
All right, so let me give you let me get your perspective. I know I dabbled. I think I asked you a little bit about it earlier. This is gonna be an interesting episode, yeah. Asked you a little bit about it earlier. What is your perspective on the last thing I was speaking on was that ocean being a portal into that outer space? What perspective comes to mind when we speak on the ocean versus space, bro?
I embrace it because there's things that are in the ocean that man haven't even reached yet. The ocean runs really, really deep into the inside of the earth, and we can go down hundreds of thousands of feet, but we can't go really, really far. There's not even technology for that. And that's the same for, just outer space, like there's no astronaut on Pluto right now, like you can't even do that. They having trouble getting to Mars, which is the next planet over, basically. So there's unexplored territory, and also there's just things that man just can't define. Man can't even define himself, let alone like the far reaches. So fuck out of here, right?
Right, right.
Space or below, fuck out of here.
Yo, I heard this. I heard this perspective today. They were saying somebody was like, there was like, did God create aliens? And homeboy responded or did a duet, and he was just like, what if this squishy thing that we call the brain is a living, thinking, breathing creature?
Right.
And that is, we are as a God or manifestation of God, we are experiencing an alien through that aspect, because it holds the different states of consciousness and emotions, anxiety, anger, pain, regret, depression, all of that.
Yeah.
And it also is a power, it also is a master of illusion, right? Helping us forget, or not even helping us, but forcing us to forget certain things that should be innate.
Yeah.
So I thought that perspective was interesting, man.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. I mean, even just the way that societies and cultures kind of operate in government societies and cultures kind of sort of operate. It's withholding information to protect one from knowing actually what's really real or what's going on, and so on and so forth. And we see that it's depicted in our movies and so on. So it's just certain information that they can't give. If they find a fucking alien, they want to research it first, and they're not going to tell a neighbor or something like that. It's just like, why,
Right.
bro? It's like you can't hold that information. It's just like, yo, we own the earth. It's like, no, you don't.
Right.
Tell everybody, that there's fucking aliens coming through here. Because then again, if they don't tell, then it's like, dude, it's crazy. He's sitting on the corner talking about, yo, I seen a UFO, and motherfuckers are like, yo, I'm going to work. You out of your mind. And it's just like, and then the authorities are like, yo, he really saw that fucking UFO, but I'm gonna make him seem like, yo, he's just high or something crazy.
We're not gonna back him up or nothing. Yeah,
it's crazy.
That would be blasphemous. All right, so with that said, man, when it comes to like, especially now dipping into like SpaceX and things of that nature, as far as where we're headed, future wise, man, I know we had a conversation about, or maybe a few episodes about this on perspectives as far as that direction moving forward. But with our technology, I know we stated that we aren't able to explore most of the ocean because of a lack of technological advances. Same thing with space.
Yeah.
Where do you think we headed moving forward now?
Damn. It's crazy simple, because a lot of what we trying to explore, we can't even get to those spaces through physical. There's no technology for that. But if you toggle to the other side of that, in meditative states, you're going everywhere.
Facts.
You're going beyond space. You're going beyond time and meditative states. So it's like, man. And if it's just that simple to get to other places and you can't be there physically, it tells where we're at as a people. We're always trying to touch something physically. We're always trying to feel it and everything like that without mentally like actually going there. And it makes me think about that the book that I read a long time ago called The Cosmic Memory. And
Dude, yes.
Yo, right? The Cosmic Memory, man, it changed my life and perspective on how I look, man, at things and so on. So, and after reading The Cosmic Memory, I started to study the Atlanteans, which spoke through telepathy, synapse, and everything like that. They didn't have a language. And it was this city before water was in the Atlantic. And I'm like, wow, there was no language. You know, they spoke through telepathy. What couldn't they do? If they were moving objects with their mind and so on and so forth. And I'm like, man, did we lose that? Because they were walking people, you know, they had limbs and so on and so forth. So I think we kind of moved away from that whole aspect of those not even superpowers, just senses, you know,
Right, right.
innate
No,
senses.
that's crazy. Like I think about that a lot, you know. And
Trey
for an
Rail.
example, yo,
No, I see Trey
um,
Rail on the other side. What up? What
yeah,
up?
what's good, man? What's goody? What's goody in the hoodie? Um, but no, man. There's this perspective. Speaking on, um, sorry, you were just saying
The Atlanteans,
the Atlantean,
synapse,
all of that, right?
telepathy,
So
all that.
for those like so the Atlanteans and Lumerians based off of the cosmic memory, they didn't think in concepts, they thought in memories, right? Like how elephants do. um or a good example will be the movie The Giver, for those who haven't seen.
Haven't seen that.
Dude, it's like a society where it's black and
Yeah.
white. People have designated, like they grow up, once they hit a certain age, they're designated an occupation. And then there's one occupation called the giver, where
Okay.
he's the one who stores all of society's memories, emotions, uh, et cetera, et cetera. So this one boy is chosen the giver. He's giving certain memories. The first one he gives them is like happiness or something, because
Okay.
it's black and white, is very just, it's not clear. It's concepts. They have concepts,
Yeah.
as opposed to living rich and feeling those memories. The same way we hear a song and tap back into a particular memory, we feel that. And I feel like the reason why, we've gotten away from that is because, we've tapped more into an analytical way of thinking and seeing the world, trying to take
Yeah.
that block and making it more complicated than what it needs to be, and stopping our receptors and receivers, from receiving, innate information. Science dictates that while we're alive, we only activate 2 to 3% of our DNA, and when we die, the rest is activated. So it's like,
Right.
how are we tapping into that and moving forward and building that technology with the spirit? And I feel like, with the renewable cars that Elon Musk is referring to, I feel like that's in a right direction. But ultimately, man, like you said, it's the highest form of technology is within, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I was watching this program the other day about like Alzheimer's, and these people, you know, they were stroke victims, you know, couldn't hardly you know, speak and everything. Actually, they didn't. They were relearning language, and they got into like sound vibrations and so on and so forth, and how these people uh, retain sound vibrations, and they started to move in certain ways, and they the sound vibration dictated the way that they spoke, which then they started to emulate the vocal tones from the record that they were listening to, and then they started to sing.
Mm.
So it was like, hold on. After turning off the music, they're like, okay, did you hear what was happening? And then they can barely form and put the words together. The lady turned back on the music, and then the sound vibrations, it caught up to them, and then they started to emulate what was happening. And it was like, hold on. That in itself says that we're a bit more advanced of a species than just book learning and so on and so forth. Like there's some sort of vibrational thing that happens when you're speaking language. Like I'm saying what I'm saying, but I can vibe with a person, you can vibe with a person without even speaking. You know,
Facts.
there's been times, and you can speak on this as well. Give me one of your perspectives on this, where, you've had a great conversation with a person, but you didn't vibe with them. How many times have that happened? Where you just like, you're talking about everything, sports, music, you know, uh, movies, and all this stuff like that, and you walked away like, yo, it was something about that person that I just didn't fuck with.
Indeed, man. More times I can count or
Yeah,
care care to count.
yeah, because there's a language, a under language that really points back to that cosmic memory and the Atlanteans, and it it's something that you know we just don't speak about. We feel, but we're like, oh, that's weird. Let me talk
Right.
to that person. Let me try to. Nah, it's like your vibes already. You.
Or it's like, let me, like, you may feel it. Something inside of you like feels like, okay, wow, this is possible. Yet you again, we're so programmed of break it down. If it doesn't make sense this way, then it's not valid or it's not true,
Yeah,
or we can't record.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Like an actual computer or something. Like, if we don't put the right calculator, we don't put the right number and right equation, it's not going to work. It's like life isn't just numbers, man. It's not.
yeah, man. It's kind of like locking into only one destination on your map quest and saying this is the only way, when it's like 50 other shortcuts you can take.
Mm.
You know,
Facts.
the religious side of that is this is the way,
Hmm.
and it's A to B. It's not like C to D and back to A or anything like that. I just look at life as like map quests. It's like you can keep taking the same route, but there's
Right.
other ways to do this.
Mm. Mm. It's like trying different foods. You only have one kind of food. How you know? How you know if you don't like? If you've never had Thai food, how you know you like it or not?
Facts.
You know. Okay, I like that. I like that. I like that. Real quick, what's the latest book that you've read or that you currently reading?
Gee, man, I just downloaded the ebook on China Inc. Like China Inc. Yeah, and it came from a clubhouse situation. I'm really trying to dig into this whole economic aspect of how the turn is going to be, because one, we owe China a lot of money, and the reactions of that is going to seep back into our day to days and our cultural situations, whether we know it or not. So I just want to really get that perspective on how China even started, man, and this whole China that we know of being outsourced, cheap labor and so on and so forth. It didn't start like in like the early 1900s. That just started in like the late 70s up into the 80s, and then China opened up to cheap labor and everything like that. And it was when Reagan was in office where they were like, man, cheap labor, man, let's start sending everything over there, made in Taiwan, made in China, and everything like that. But it wasn't really cheap labor. It was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna bill you later, type. You know what I'm saying? So I just dove into that, man. I haven't even started reading it, but I got a couple other ones that I just finished. Homo Deus, which is yeah,
About that. Yeah.
Homo Deus is man, yo, you got to be ready for that book because it talks about
Right.
everybody. Man, it really digs into the middle, man. You know, and it goes back into the ways of thinking like hunter gatherer, because hunter gatherers were the people who actually went out, they killed the meat, took it back, cooked the meat, fed their families, and then made another map or regimen to actually go do that again. So it was like people that thought into cycles, but Homo Deus really breaks it down that it's like these middle people that, after the dude, goes out and hunts for the meat, is like, all right, I'm going to tax you for the meat. And then, to get it on your plate, there's another situation where you got to buy the house to get the plate and everything like that. It's really coming down to the side of Homo Deus really broke it down to that man can really, really start systematizing his own sort of sphere, the way that family works, and it's through automation, programming, technology, so on and so forth. It really, really goes deep. But the thing about it is that they speak about eliminating a lot of jobs, like attorneys, say, for instance. Blockchain is going to eliminate attorneys, because if you and I can come up with an agreement to say, hey, cool, man, I want you to be a part of my royalties or rights on my intellectual properties, then we're cool with that. Shake on it. All right, cool. We transfer information, we transfer beans for rice, and then we rock from there. Attorneys are like, yo, y'all don't need me. It's like, nah, I worked it out with man. Man's good with that. And the fact that everything is going to these blockchains on numbers. I mean, when the last time you saw $1,000 in cash? Been a minute, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see that on rap videos, but them motherfuckers crazy. And I think that's that fake ass Amazon cash, bro. You can get fake cash from Amazon. Look that shit up. You can get fake hundreds, fake 20s. It's like video money.
And it looks like real.
That should look real as real. Yeah. It looks real. Really real. Like, I look at Soulja Boy now like, is that Amazon cash, bro?
That's different. I mean, not different, but okay. Was there a reason they came out with that or something? Or?
For videos, man.
Okay.
Yo, man, I guess the algorithm knows me to be related to hip hop, so I get these ads for like fake cash from Amazon. I'm like, yo, I'm not into that shit.
All right, that's different. Yeah, we're gonna ball out this video, but we're gonna have to. You got Amazon Prime? All right, bet. It's different.
Man. I'm like, is it dollar for dollar, or you could just buy by weight or something, like a stack of paper for like $10, you get 100 ones or something. I don't know, man.
Right.
It's kind of it really stabs at the hip hop community, but I'm a part of it, so whatever you got to do to create your special effects, do that.
Right. That's different. That's different. Okay.
Yeah, but Homo Deus and China Inc. is my latest joints, man. To lead back to the.
Yeah, no, that's dope, man. China Inc. sounds like it's gonna be interesting, and of course, Homo Deus, that middleman aspect, man. That's crazy. Yo.
Everything going to automation, man. Everything's going to automation, man. You're gonna either have to program your life through the next 25, 50 years. Or else get programmed. You're going to have to program or get programmed.
That's facts.
And
that's facts.
They'll rather you get programmed. That's just data. Data is worth $1 trillion. So if they can program you to, give something for, the platform that you're using or something like that, then that's what it's going to be. But we're going to have to start programming our own stuff.
You have any perspective that you could give anybody on maybe a step in the right direction when it comes to learning how to program yourself? Because even from the kindergarten to now, it's always been about, hey, do this, complete this, go to this next stage, and if you go down this route, you're good.
Well, I mean, it starts with what exactly do you want to put on the World Wide Web? That's why it's called the World Wide Web. It's like, do you want to put everything on the World Wide Web? because if you do, then that's what the algorithms are going to read, and then it's going to give you back. It's going to spit that back at you in ads and so on and so forth. Like if, say for instance, shout out to the dudes that are lonely out there. Pandemic's been hard, but a lot of porn sites have been visited. If you're going to these porn sites from your phone or from your laptop or something like that, you're programming. You're programming. So, you may get an ad for a dildo. If you checking out those sites, you
Right.
may get an ad for some pocket vaginas or something like that. You know, those things are being programmed into the algorithm, and it's going under your IP address.
Mhm.
So these things are coming back to you, and then it moves with you. Those data points move with you. So I got a friend of mine. He actually, we have mega conversations about this, where, he'll in his YouTube account, he Googles only things about technology, education, and philosophy, and so on and so forth. And that's all he does. Anything else, if he want to look at, he'll go and buy physical books on, because he don't want to mess up the programming behind what he's trying to do as far as like his online profile, so on and
Right,
so
right,
forth. That algorithm is messed up within, as you say, like the Facebooks and everything like that, because Facebook is connected to your Instagram. But even on that term, look at Facebook as a planet. Planet Facebook, has your dog information and everything like that, the first pregnancies and so on and so forth, the fact that you like plants and so on. And then when, why Facebook is worth $1 trillion, that companies goes and buy these ads, and then they aggregate this information based upon your data to actually show where these people are that may or may not like your product, you know
right,
and that's how they did the election as well, where they aggregated all these people that was left wing, right wing, and kind of sort of sent propaganda towards them about one or the other candidate, and so on and so forth. So I mean, this is public information. This is no conspiracy theories.
right,
This is just the way that data works. And the more and more, as it's not even nerd shit, man. Now it's just life shit. The more and more we
right,
know about that stuff, the more and more we can approach this World Wide Web kind of situation and kind of build what we want in, because your job situation, all your future job information is leaning towards that. I can actually Google the person that I want to hire and see what they've done for the last 10 years, whether they tell me on an application or not. I can scrape their data and see if they've been, slacking or macking.
right.
I would say, just back to your point, man, I would say, everyone should really, really, learn how to read their own data, because
Mm.
that's what's going to really, really give you the reins to actually program your next few steps in life, or your next
Right.
future, or whatever.
hmm No, it's crazy you say that, man. As far as learning how to read your own data, and like you said at the beginning of that segment, either program yourself or be programmed. They got actual stores and venues now where they have sleeves like Arctic Carbon.
Did you see that the episode Altered Carbon?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right, yeah, yeah, that's real.
yeah, no. Dude, yes. And it's like, imagine trusting someone else with your consciousness, emotions, memories, your being, to put you in a sleeve, a human sleeve. Will put you in a chip first, a chip,
Yeah,
then insert you into a sleeve. You don't know exactly what this sleeve is made of, the technology that it has in order to even perform such an act. You're really gonna trust someone else outside of yourself with you and then live comfortably in a skin outside of like
Yeah.
reincarnation. I believe in reincarnation and I believe in you reaching a point where you choose where you go at a particular point. But this, dude,
Yeah. It's snapshots of future, man. I mean, it's yeah, man. Scientists are working really, really hard. Technologists are working really, really hard to like actualize everything that is done. But the best thing as human beings is we can do is really, really look at the past, man. I mean, this is not new information. None of that is
right,
new information. This is just like it took about 30 years to actually perfect this because it's just kind of like working a record. Records were done probably like a year and a half ago. It just got hot like a year from now,
right,
so you got to work it into society and everything like that. And once it hits and Steve Jobs or not Steve Jobs but Apple is like unveiling it, it's just like, yo, how long have you guys been working on this? you know how long have you been working on the Apple contact lens, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, how long has this been in beta? Or, how long have you been testing this? But, NASA, they had radio frequencies, man, early 1900s. So
hmm and even
it's
Amazon, man, they have a chip that they're looking for volunteers, I guess.
mhm.
Um, where it's your new way of payment. No wallet, credit cards, nothing necessary. Just anywhere
Just,
you go.
just scan your ass, just like boop. Just rub your ass on the on the
Like,
glass. Put it on the glass. You like
yeah,
twerk it
that's
on the
just wild.
glass. Like, yeah,
That's just wild, man. And it's like one, it just shows you what we're capable of
yeah,
as just humans or beings. I don't even say humans, but just beings, light beings, man. And at the same time, it also shows where we are as well.
yeah,
As beings, man. So it's just it's an interesting. It's funny. I understand balance, yet I want to replace that word with harmony. It's an interesting harmony that we have to keep, where it's just like incongruent sides and different shapes and things. We have to, like an orchestra or producing, we have to
yeah,
find the different keys and everything to put it together to make it work. Like this, it's almost like we're finding more and more instruments as time is going on, and it's like, okay, how do we incorporate this?
yeah,
And it's interesting, man.
yeah. But that's the part that's really, really challenging because every instrument that is bought into production is an extension of man. You know, it's the computer. It's essentially your brain. You know,
Right,
sending electrical signals to actually produce functions, you know, in an algorithmic way that keeps memory. It's just like, damn, you talking about me. Like, you're really, really talking about a human being that's, you know, actually stationary that can really, really hold information. Like a brain itself, a clear thinking mind can hold terabytes of information, you know?
right,
Like, just think about it. When you go to a mall, there's a lot of people that are walking around. Your peripherals are picking up colors and all sorts of data and information. And then, a week later, whether it's in your subconscious mind or your frontal lobe, where it's just like you're naming it, it's in there. You can access that information, man. And that's
right.
why I be wanting to slap people that's like, oh, I got a bad memory. Shut the, like, you just, nah, it's in there. And then they end up doing something and saying, yo, I'm doing something new. I'm creating something new. And it's just like, yo, you seen that last year at this point, at this time. You're just doing this and you're reacting from your subconscious mind. I'm like, yo, it's in there. you can access this information. You know,
Mm,
so yeah,
mm.
man. That's the greatest computer, man. Our minds, bro.
Right. Indeed. And and I was having this conversation with the coworker yesterday about the collective consciousness. We all have our individual consciousness, and what we do affects someone directly or indirectly, whether we are aware of it or not. Right. And the collective consciousness is what creates the society that we hold true or that we accept. If I come out tomorrow with a doctrine saying, there was this extraterrestrial life form who was in cahoots with Jesus, and they was real tight. And after their travels since all this time, this is the new information. If about 3 billion people ended up aligning with something like that, it has now become a truth in our world. So when we are, like you said, learning to read our own data and things of that nature, like, we have to keep in mind everything that we do eventually becomes our collective consciousness, so, and
Yo,
our reality.
they call that prayer.
Mm.
When and shout out to the Muslim religion. When you pray at 5 a.m., you know, it's all of these conscious minds are saying the same thing at the same time every single day.
Mm.
You're shifting. You're shifting planets. Like
Mm.
so, it goes into man, dude. This is such a great conversation, man. It really goes into what we don't see, and more of what we don't see is more of what we need to believe.
Facts. It's
Because when you're pressing visually, like, this doesn't exist, we gotta make this happen, we gotta, I'm like, yo, it's already happened.
mm.
Now if we choose to bring it to the physical world, then that's what's up.
Right.
you know it's I do this all the time when I create something. I always create it in my head, like it's already done. Like we could talk about, like, yo, with the beat the move like this, once it's there, it's just like, yo, I see it.
Right.
Like
Right.
I'm more excited about the fact that people don't see it and I do within my subconscious mind. So
Right.
when I bring it to physical, it's just like, yo, bask in that, man. I'm done with it. I've already had a party on this shit.
Right. Right. Right.
It's just like, it is.
Right. Right. And then once you put your consciousness, your energy onto that, and start sharing that with people, and it starts to spread, like, yo, it starts to almost solidify.
Materialize,
Material.
solidify. You
That's
know, but it came from this force that, and that's what you look into, the the Star Wars, the force is with you. I
uh
mean, it's coming from within and then coming into the outer and so on and so forth. And it's not esoteric, man. It's just like, it's not esoteric. It's just it is. And the more and more that we were connected to human beings that think the same way, the more and more conversations we can have without using our tongues. Like,
that part.
say for instance, like just the other day, and this is crazy, crazy, crazy. Just the other day, it was yesterday. I was thinking about my friend Dina Ray. I was like, yo, I haven't talked to Dina in a long time. I bet she's out, spending that stimmy. I'm like, yeah, you got a bad little stimmy. I'm like, yeah, she's out doing that, man. But I'm like, man, she deserves that because that woman has worked so hard. And I was kind of talking to her in that language. And then she had called me. She was like, Journey, I got an idea. Like, I got this stimmy. I want to pay you to do this for me. And I was like, I didn't even tell her. That I contacted her. I swear to God, it went just this way. I didn't even tell her. I'm like, all right, yeah, Dina. I already knew. I'm like, yeah. So you want to spread that stimmy and and for some services, but you want to give someone that you know and love that sort of payment or reciprocal. I was like, yeah. And then she's talked about some equipment and so on and so forth. But there's a lot of instances that, you're contacting people and they're like, oh man, I was just thinking about you.
Right.
It's like, is it really esoteric, or did we just speak to each other? Just like the Atlanteans spoke, through telepathy.
Facts.
Email, come on. All of that shit is just an interpretation.
Facts. And it's funny. Somebody so I saw this one meme, and it was like, after 4,000 years, we're now using the same language. They had hieroglyphics and emojis. I'm like, yo, that's so true.
Emotion.
And it's like, people understand emojis more than us. Like, somebody can drop 2 emojis and it can provide a feeling or an emotion or a sensation that 2 to 3 sentences couldn't.
Facts. I know people that have stopped talking to people just because they got some sort of emoji that was offending them. I remember, yo, a long time ago, man. It was when I was living in New York, man, and my friend, which she was German, she used to drop these emojis. Didn't say shit. She would just have these emojis and would text me like of the head with the popping eyes. Just like that emoji. One day, man, I was like, yo, what the fuck does that supposed to mean?
Like, come on.
And
man.
like, are you saying that like you see me, but I'm not with you, or like, do you want to see like explain that shit? Stop doing that. I'm like, next time you send another popping eye emoji, I'm just not gonna call you ever. And I was like, damn, why did I get so mad? Those are hieroglyphs, bro, with messages in them.
Yo, that's funny.
Straight paragraphs and books.
You felt attacked with that emoji or something, bro?
Man. Yeah. Like, yo, stop playing with me.
Like, the hell you looking at like that?
Right.
What's up?
Just wouldn't say anything, just like popping eye. I'm like, what is this, man? Like, you watching me? Like you got surveillance or something? And then it went into the culture. It was like, yo, you German and everything like that. I got really, really heated. I got really heated, man. But it goes back to the hieroglyphs thing of just like, man, we are speaking. Yo, man, I'm just human, bro.
Yeah. That's funny, man. I'm sorry. That's hilarious.
Shout out to the Walsh family, man. They were like my second family in New York, man. They really took care of me, but yo.
You open your messages and you
just right. And I'm moving around, man. I'm like, yo, I got things to do. I'm like, yo, are you like, what you really saying?
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. Man.
Yeah, but these emojis are just straight books out here, man.
Hmm.
They're like telling stories. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole story in one emoji.
Yo, there's this I forget the name of the movie, but it's these kids and they just like they're good kids, but then they bad at the same time. They just wilding. And like they just when they text each other, it's just straight emojis, right? And it makes me wonder, like when I have children, like when they start getting cell phones, what the language is going to be then,
Oh
especially
man.
for that kind of. Yeah, it's like our words. It's going to be crazy. Are words going to be really necessary moving forward with symbols? And I believe, and I'll talk to you about this a few times, I believe we are now in fourth density, which is about transparency and compassion. Hence
Mm-hmm.
why a lot of things are coming to the surface, people are
Yep.
starting to wake up, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
That allows us, with each new density, is more information that the third dimension couldn't see, just like a box can see the individual lines, the one dimensional, or a
Yeah.
square can see the lines, a box can see the square, et cetera, et cetera. But this
Mm-hmm.
fourth dimension, if you put it on paper, it's like a box looking at itself. It's like it's aware of itself. It's an interesting shape, yo. But it's just like transparency. So with that said, uh, it makes me wonder, like, if we're going to be, well, not even wonder. I really do believe we're going to tap back into that nature of telepathy and being able to communicate telepathically, man. So
Yo, that's
I
what
do believe
the
so.
cosmic memory. Hard drive's almost. Cosmic memory speaks about that, like the world in cycles. Like whether we want it or not, the universe is going to move as it does, just like the Earth moves. And it takes it 365 days to get around fully. It's going to continue to do what it does. No matter what we do on this rock, it's going to do what it does.
Right.
And we're going to either, ignore it or, tap into it, but it's going to do it. And a lot of people that are in tune, they're going to feel that. They're going to be like, wow, there's a shift that's happening. There's, something that's actually happening within me as these things are happening on this planet. So, you
Right.
know, some people gonna go to the mall on Earth Day. Some people gonna go to the forest.
Right. Right.
There'll
Right.
always be that separation of like reality purists and people of the unseen.
Bro, something just came to mind real quick. Real quick. What time is it? It's like eight
Five
oh
past
eight.
eight. Yep.
Um, real quick. That just made me think of something. You know how we speak on evolution, right? As us humans and the earth, etc. First density entities are things that move but don't grow: water, air, fire, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Second density are things that move and grow, but they're more group oriented, like trees, animals. Third density is us humans, this third individual aspect of being aware of oneself, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And we are able to recognize that second and first density aspects and analyze it and really understand what that is. What if this next evolution of fourth density beings are beings not, really looking different, but just of beings of like telepathic abilities and things of that nature? And yet there would still be third dimensional beings like how we are now, but those fourth dimensional beings will have a certain part of their DNA unlocked or accessed already or something like
Son, my New York son, right?
that. Yeah.
These are aliens, bro.
I, aliens is just
Come on, like
unknown life
since
form.
the beginning of like movies with aliens,
Mm-hmm.
it's been everything described of this fourth density of all of what man is, animal, fire, water, all of that stuff like that, all in one to reach this fourth where they're just fully tapped in.
Mm-hmm.
That's like alien life force, man. that's what George Lucas was talking about in Star Wars. That's what we see in
Right,
superheroes. That's what I mean.
right.
It's like
It's everywhere. You're so right, man. And it's like Hollywood. It's crazy you say that. Even Hollywood comes from like an
DJ
actual
Cole.
Hollywood tree. Yo, it's crazy. Yo, it's like used to like get us to accept things subconsciously. So when it does come out into reality, it's like,
It's
yeah,
separate. It's like,
yo,
oh, on TV, it's separate from me, but I, no, it's not.
yo, that's
Yeah,
we gotta drop the mic. We gonna drop the mic there, yo. I
yeah.
love that.
I really, really seeing that's the alien life force because it's ah man, it's everything that we've seen, man. That is outside of us, and you think that there can't be anything beyond water and fire and so on. You think that it can't be anything beyond trees, and then we came, and then it doesn't stop. Like it would be just unnatural for things to stop at human beings. And I know for the life of us, we're like holding on, like, oh, we're the most intelligent, we're the most this. And then with anything that comes up of any higher being in intel, we got to research and then dissect it. And then if it's a Kool-Aid, we got to drink it because there's only one human being that can hold that power, and they try to isolate it. It's just like, stop it. Stop
Right,
it, bro.
right.
It's like it's other life forces that are out there, whether we've seen them or not, or whether they're at, some sort of place in Pasadena. Shit's out there. It's just
Right.
we ain't got the money or the fucking access to even really, really tap into those articles. So
Mm.
just keep rocking
Yo,
and keep believing.
told y'all this was gonna be an interesting episode indeed. I run it a little different this time.
Yo, man,
Uh,
we just nerds, man. We're just nerds. I read a lot, man. You read a lot, bro. Like there's people that are documenting, man, and that's what make this programming so important, man. Greens and things. It's just a documentation, man. People like this is going to be capsulized, and 30 years, 40 years from now, there'd be in a data central under Khzzari, and people can tap into this information and say like, yo, these dudes ain't just cutting, scratching, mixing, and rapping. They're actually tapping into above and beyond, but just using music as a medium to, shed more information and so on and so forth. So
that
I
part.
love
That
this, man.
Yo, we make what you always used to tell me, like life is like making music, man. It's like we're DJing, blending different worlds together and creating a sound, a wave, a vibration that is just pleasant to the soul almost.
Harmony.
Um,
Harmony.
harmony. Harmony, exactly, yo. So that's exactly what this is, man. So thank you, yo.
Oh,
Yo,
thank you, man. Thank you,
I
bro.
appreciate it. And everybody who's tapped in, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, man. I know it's a bit different from what we've been doing, but nonetheless, still divine. And I'm hype. I'm excited about this episode. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yo,
Just a
it's
lot
taking
of
me
little
back to
hits.
perspective. Yeah, it's taking me back to perspectives, man. So it's crazy. So thank you everyone for tapping in to another episode of Greens and Things. Me and my man Journey. This won't be the last time that we come on here and drop some gems and just build. That's it.
Yeah.
And just build.
It'll definitely happen, man. It'll definitely happen again. It always happens, man. But
Right. Oh, indeed. So if there's any artists out there who are interested in coming on the show, please feel free to reach out.
yeah, my man DJ Cole from Seattle, from Chicago, man. You should come on here, man. We just nerds, man. Let's talk some nerd talk, man. Let's talk about those books and what you writing on, man, outside of music. Let's do it.
All that good stuff, man. Let's lock that in indeed. So again, sending love and light y'all way. Y'all be amazing. Thank y'all for tapping in, and until next week. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
All right. It's like, for those who's like soaking on some green in that episode, yeah, that's perfect.
Shout out to Trey Rell. He provided the elements for this track.